All right, scrapping with Grandpa. And today, I'm gonna take these 3 barrel of wire and separate everything that I want to turn in without stripping because it's too small. I'm separating all the small from all the big stuff. And I've got several barrels to do that with. A lot of miscellaneous wires here. But while I'm doing this, taking my hands off, keeping the brass parts and the copper parts. Some of them have plastic on them. Some of them have plastic on them, but I have a smelter and I am going to be melting. I'm going to be melting this stuff. So I think if it has a little plastic on it, I'll probably still hang on to it. These wires are just too small to strip. Although I love the wire that's in them, since I do melting, they're very difficult to strip. So I am just going to get rid of it and scrap and keep all the ends. So I'm keeping all my ends and I'm putting them down here in this bucket. And all these pieces here, I'll end up melting down into ingots. That's what I do. Take the brass ones, melt them down. Now there will be copper in with them. Look at these nice pieces. Copper. Copper and brass, baby. Some of this stuff I just let go with the wire itself. But today's project, which I've done some of them already, it's time to separate some wire because I'm starting to accumulate just a little bit too much of it. Excuse me. It's starting to accumulate too much and I haven't separated it. It's all mixed in together. So I think today, it's Sunday, I'm not going to go out and do any scrapping on Sunday. I'm just going to separate wire so that when I go in on Monday with my load of scrap, which I will be bringing in a load of scrap on Monday, I'll have at least a barrel to bring with me of thin wire. Separating that goodness. Look at that. Good old piece of copper. Might be some trash on it here and there. We'll take care of that later. Today, all I'm worried about is taking my wires. Wow, got some big stuff here. I'll have to separate this again later. Taking off all my pieces. Separating these barrels. I'm going to hold on to that. I'm going to have to get that off because this wire here, I'm going to run that through my stripper. I'll separate the 3. I'll also take this piece and cut it off, and I'll save all my brass pieces. And I'll still turn that in because there'll be other metal inside of it. So, Tin Man says you can cut them off here, or you can slice these things right there and pull out a bigger piece. You slice them here, there, and there, and pull out a bigger piece, and then you still turn that in. I haven't tried that yet, but I'm thinking about going ahead and cutting that off. But I tell you, I'm not sure if wire cutters are the best way to go. There's still quite a bit of copper in there. That's why they still take it. Now I'll bring that in and split, and pull these out. Let me see how I need to get my gloves. Yeah, they're pretty hard to come out without splitting them or putting them in a vise. So anything like that, I'm going to save over there. And this will be in a different This, I'm going to end up putting in a, get rid of that scrap metal. Listen, listen. Money. Money. I save even my small stuff. So stuff like this, I'll be saving this in a different bucket because I'm keeping this to strip. I'm keeping all these for stripping. I bought a nice beautiful wire stripper and I can't wait to get in there and start cutting these down and stripping them, because I'm going to be making videos of melting down copper and making ingots, and my end game would be selling that on see, this has a lot of small wire in it, but it also has another sheet on the outside, so I think that's different. I don't think that's going to be the same as this, because this has sheeting on the other side, so that's like 60%. I think they call this 40% because of that extra sheeting, and it's small wire. It's just not worth, to me anyways, right now it's just not worth me taking the time to strip it out. So I'm going to go ahead and let extension cords like this, and this is phone wire. This is a lot of phone wire. I'm not sure exactly how. Looks like phone wire anyway. I'm not sure how they do this stuff. So I'll be looking for tips from anybody. I'll be looking for tips on this particular stuff here. Which wire does this go in? A lot of little wires and a big fat wire on the outside. I wonder if it's worth stripping that one fat piece off on the outside and just keeping all the rest of it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to ask him at the excuse me, at the scrapyard. Some of this wire is different. I noticed that these wires look very similar, but this has 2 wires on the inside of it, and this has a whole bunch of wire on the inside of it. So I'll be asking my guys at the scrapyard, because I do not know what the difference is. So I'm not going to put anything in here that has anything coating on the outside. I'm just going to set it aside for now into another bucket like this one. Stuff that I have questions about. Put that stuff right there. Questions. Questions. So it's got a whole bunch of wire inside of it. I'm not sure what they call that. A lot of wire inside of it. But I'm going to separate it that way. A lot of wire inside of it. And separate it. Yeah, so I'm going to separate all these ones that have a crap ton of wire in them with a big old outside. I think that's 40% stuff. See, even these things here, by the time I get them 2 wires out, it ain't worth. So anyway, I'll be honest with you. See, there's a lot of freaking hard copper in that thing. I just don't know if I should run it through my stripper, get rid of that outside sheet right there, and would that turn it into, if I did that, would that turn it into better copper? Would I get more money for it if I just took that brown sheet off and left them wires in there? That's what I'm thinking, because it's got an extra sheet. Like all these wires that I'm putting in this bucket right here only have like 1 copper inside, but there's only 1. Whereas this has a whole bunch, but it has a sheet on the outside. I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to probably cut them plastic pieces off. Don't think I'm supposed to leave anything like that on there. But I'm just learning, so oh God, God, it makes me think that this thing should have the outside strip sheeted off. God, and I say that only because this wire will bend. It's not like loose wire, like some of this other wire. This is such strong little strands in there. If I get rid of that outside piece, I'm pretty sure it'd be worth a lot more money. Like, get rid of this brown and all them other wires. Much more valuable. So I'm gonna hold that aside for stripping. That's copper in it. One piece of copper down the middle. I'm thinking it's like a phone line. I just don't know about this stuff 100%. So I'm going to be bringing this in kind of blind and asking for help from my, number one, my eBayers, probably. I mean eBayers. I don't even know if I have to take that off of an extension cord. Oh, I wish I knew more about this, but I'm going to learn. I am going to learn. I guess it's going to be a process. Cutting these off because I don't, and leave them over there because I don't know what they are. See, this is a little thin wire. It doesn't hold its, a lot of this wire in there. You got this thin cord wire. I'm just going to separate it like that. If it's flimsy, this is probably what they call 40%. So it's got big wire on the outside of it. A lot of little thin strand wire on the inside. I'm going to separate. I'm only saying 40%. I think I'm listening to Tin Man on that. There's a couple wires in there. Let me see, there's 2 wires. There's nothing inside of a sheet. So you got 1, 2, and 3, I guess. I'm just a little bit lost in what it is. I hope they'll fill me in when I get to the scrapyard and not let me mess up. If they like me enough over there, I guess they won't let me mess up. They'll tell me what wires go where, how much money each one might be worth. I'm going to separate them the way I think right now, just by watching videos. And go from there. Big old wire in there, but there's a lot of sheets on it. I'm thinking this is all going to be 40% because of all the single strands that are in it. Yeah. So that's how I'm going to separate it, and then I'll let them tell me when I get there. And I think this might be 60% wire, but only because it doesn't have sheeting on the outside of it. I still always make sure I cut my little ends off and I save them. I know they have plastic on them, but I have a smelter. I'm going to melt this stuff down anyway. I don't think them matter so much. I'll find out when I get there. Anyways, that's how I'm going to separate this wire. I hope I'm doing it right. I just hope I'm doing it right. I guess I'm going to put that in there just because. A lot of extra wires. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to separate these 2 buckets today. Cut the clips off. These are more single. Don't lose that. And that's the way I'm going to separate it. Hopefully I'm doing it right. I guess I'll at least learn something when I go down there. I'm thinking 40%, 60%. I don't know. So like I say, hopefully they'll just tell me when I get there whether I'm doing it right or not. So this is what I'm going to spend my Sunday doing. And I'm not going to leave anything. If there's any goodness I can get out of that. I'm not sure what's in that. Probably nothing special. Probably nothing special. Anyways, I haven't brought any wire at all in for anything. Pretty nice stuff. I don't know. I don't know what goes where, but I'm just gonna guess. If I'm wrong, when I get there, they'll tell me. So I'm gonna spend my day doing this. I've got plenty of them. It's time to get rid of something. It's time to get rid of something. I just don't know. I hope they don't think that goes in there. It's got an extra sheet on it. I don't know. But I know this little stuff here, I'm not going to strip it. I stripped some the other day, and when I ran it through my stripping machine, it was cutting the, it was either cutting the wire, the little strands in there like crazy. It was really cutting. And what I ended up doing was having a lot of little shavings. Ended up with a lot of little shavings. And I just picked them up, of course, and put them in my thing. Looks like speaker wire. Phone wire. And not knowing. Anyway, I just picked them all up and put them in my copper pile because I'll end up melting it down anyways. But I don't like the way it cut into the little copper strands, and it just made a mess. So I'm not gonna strip down anything, because I stripped down this stuff, all this stuff the other day. See how small that wire is? I stripped it. I also have in these buckets these boards that I'll be quiet, my dog's over there. These boards that I take out of washers and dryers and stuff like that. I will recover copper from there. Look in there, see that right there? That is silver and copper, and I'll recover all that too. So I put that, stuff like this. There's a lot of silver in these pieces on the back side of that board. So I'm going to take all that stuff apart later. So anything that I'm going to work with, I'll probably just bring this in on my bench as I'm taking this stuff apart. But I save these things because I get the goodness off the back of them. And all these little pieces here, inside of here, comes off of the back of a dryer. Tin Man told me there was not only the copper but the silver connectors in here. So I save every piece of this. I'll go through that, take out the copper, the brass. I got a lot of this wire, man. I got a lot of this wire to go through today, so I am going to get to work. Battery about dead already. Anyway, I'm separating all these wires. I don't know 100% if I'm doing it right, like I said, but until I find out that I'm doing it wrong, this is the way I'm going to do it. And basically all I'm doing is taking this, any wire that has a wire and then a coating or another coating, I'm putting it in what I've heard is 60% phone wire, stuff like that. When I come across these single wires that are heavy duty, this will get stripped off in my stripper. That's heavy duty. Oh yeah, see, this is heavy duty stuff. I'm just throwing that over there with the brass and the heavy copper. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of excited about Monday. I'm still separating, obviously, got a lot to do. But I'm looking forward to Monday to find out. I mean, I haven't brought anything in except for plain steel at between 8 and 10 cents a pound. I just can't wait until I find out what this wire brings me. I should have, by the time I'm finished, at least 2 barrels worth of some recyclable wire, and I'm excited to find out what I get for it, because along with that, I'm going to still have my regular load of scrap metal.